Tonight, you're going to open your refrigerator. There will be eggs on one shelf and chicken on another. Two products, one animal. That's what you've always assumed. But the bird that laid your eggs and the bird on your plate are not the same creature anymore. They've been pulled so far apart by breeding that they barely share a body type. And there's a third bird in the system. One you've never seen, never eaten, never been told about. Nearly 8 billion of them are born every single year. Almost all of them are male. You have never eaten one. So why not? Or is it because nobody in this industry ever had to tell you what happens to the other half? Before we get into why nobody eats them, here's what they actually are. Because that changes the weight of everything that comes after. A chicken can recognize your face. Not vaguely, not as a blur that shows up with food. Your specific face, distinct from every other human it has seen. In 2017, neuroscientist Lori Marino published a review in the journal Animal Cognition, compiling decades of research on the domestic chicken, and what she found was an animal most people rank at the bottom of the intelligence ladder, doing things nobody expected. Chickens distinguish over 100 individual faces, human and chicken alike, and remember who treated them well and who didn't. They also use transitive inference. If A outranks B and B outranks C, the chicken works out that A outranks C without ever seeing those two interact. In a bird, most people wouldn't trust to cross a road. But here's where it gets harder to brush off. In 2015, Christine Nicole at the University of Bristol showed that freshly hatched chicks demonstrate object permanence, understanding that something still exists when you can't see it. Human infants don't reliably develop that until 6 or 7 months of age. A 5-day-old chick can do what a 4-month-old human baby can't. And in 2011, Joanne Edgar and her team at the same university found that when mother hens watch their chicks exposed to a mild puff of air, nothing painful, just uncomfortable, the mother's heart rate spiked, their preening stopped, and they produced alert calls aimed at their young. The hens weren't touched. They weren't threatened. Their bodies reacted as if the discomfort were their own. That's not a reflex. That's an animal reading distress in its young and responding with something that looks like concern. That is the animal we're talking about. Keep it in mind. You're going to need it. Now here's what we did with it. The modern poultry industry runs on 2 completely separate genetic lines. One bird bred for meat, the other bred for eggs. They were once the same animal. In 2014, Martin Zudhoff and his team at the University of Alberta raised chickens from 3 different eras side by side. A strain preserved since 1957, one from 1978, and a modern commercial broiler from 2005. Same feed, same barn, same conditions. The 1957 bird weighed less than a kilogram at 8 weeks. The 2005 bird weighed over 4. Growth rate had jumped by more than 400% in under 50 years. We didn't breed a better chicken. We built 2 different animals and called them both by the same name. And here's where the math turns. The egg bird lays over 300 eggs a year, 30 times what her wild ancestor managed, on a body that weighs less than a bag of sugar. But half the chicks born into her line are male. A male layer chick can't lay eggs, and he can't grow fast enough to be worth feeding either. He'd take 3 to 4 times as long as a broiler to reach a fraction of the weight, eating the whole time. In the arithmetic of modern agriculture, he is a cost with no return. So he's destroyed, usually within hours of hatching. According to a 2026 report by Faunalytics, approximately 7.83 billion male layer chicks were killed globally in 2024 alone. That is why you've never eaten one. Not because the meat is bad, not because roosters are dangerous, because the system we built made them cheaper to destroy than to feed. And you're already inside that system, whether you've thought about it or not. Every egg you've cracked into a pan, every cake, every carton in the door of your fridge right now. Each one exists only because a hen was hatched, and she was hatched next to a brother sorted out and destroyed within hours, so that hatchery had room, feed, and labor to spend on her instead. You didn't order that. Nobody asked you. But you've been eating the output of that trade your whole life without ever being told it was happening. Here's the part that should bother you. We used to eat them. For 2,000 years, the male chicken was the finest bird on the table. So, the real question isn't why we don't eat them, it's why we stopped. In 162 BC, Rome passed a law called the Lex Fania, banning fattened hens at banquets, one of those ancient rules against excess. Roman farmers found the loophole before the ink was dry. They castrated young roosters instead, stripping the hormones that drive aggression and toughness. The result was a capon, larger, softer, richer than anything a hen could produce. For nearly 2,000 years, it was the finest poultry on the Western table. Medieval cooks braised them in wine for Christmas. English tenants paid rent in capons instead of coin. The male chicken wasn't the thing you threw away. He was the thing you saved for the feast. Then, in 1948, a grocery chain called A&P sponsored a national breeding contest in Georgetown, Delaware, called the Chicken of Tomorrow. A California breeder named Charles Vantris won with a bird that grew broader and heavier than any farm chicken alive. That contest launched the modern broiler industry and split the chicken in two for good. One competition, 1 year. That's when we stopped eating male chickens. Not because they stopped being edible, but because a faster, cheaper bird made them irrelevant. Sit with what that actually took. We found a jungle bird, pulled it apart into two separate organisms over 70 years of deliberate selection, and engineered one of them so precisely that half its offspring came out useless by design. No other species has ever split another one in half on purpose. We did, and we called it progress. And that left somebody with a job. Before you can remove the males, you have to find them. In the 1920s, researchers in Japan discovered that the sex of a day-old chick could be read from the inside of its vent, a difference so subtle nobody had believed it was visible at all. The Zen Nippon Chick Sexing School opened in the early 1930s, running a 2-year apprenticeship, and by mid-decade had trained over 1,000 sexers who could sort roughly 1,000 chicks an hour, one every 3 seconds, at better than 98% accuracy. And here's the strangest part. They can't explain how they do it. Cognitive scientist Richard Horsey, who studied the profession, found that expert sexers routinely say they have no idea how they reach the decision. They pick up a chick, they look, and they simply know. And chickens aren't the only ones caught in this. The dairy industry runs the same math on male calves. They don't make milk, so most are sold off within days. 3 seconds, or 3 days. A life goes one direction or the other, and once you see the pattern in one species, you start noticing it everywhere. Now think about what those 3 seconds look like from the other side. A chick breaks through its shell in a climate-controlled hatchery. Its eyes open for the first time, its down still damp. The first thing it sees is light. The first thing it feels is a hand. Female chicks continue down the line. Male chicks are diverted. The world, from that chick's side, is 3 seconds of warmth, 2 hands, and then nothing. The skeptic's argument here is clean and fair. It's just efficient math. Raising 8 billion slow-growing roosters would waste grain, spike food prices, and pile pressure onto a system already stretched thin. A chick at 1 day old almost certainly lacks the neural development to feel pain the way we would. And honestly, the skeptic isn't wrong about the numbers. The math works. But here's what the math doesn't account for. The system that makes culling rational is the system we designed. We split one bird into 2, made the male half worthless, and now call killing it efficient. We're not discovering a law of nature. We're enforcing a rule we wrote. And there's a line that science still can't cross. We can document that a chicken tracks hidden objects, distinguishes faces, remembers who heard it. We can measure a mother hen's heart rate climbing while she watches her chick in trouble. What we can't do is stand at the edge of that sorting line and know whether the thing moving down it carries any experience of what's about to happen. That border between behavior we can chart and awareness we can't reach is where the science hands the question to you. Nobody has crossed it. Not for chickens. Not for anything that isn't us. Here's what we do know. A chick born into the egg line reaches object permanence at 5 days old. It's destroyed at day 1. 4 days before it would demonstrate a skill a human infant won't develop for half a year. It will never track an object behind a screen. It would have. It will never recognize a face. It will never stand in a flock and know exactly who to trust. Not because the wiring wasn't there, because the clock ran out before it ever switched on. The answer to why you don't eat male chickens has nothing to do with the meat. It has everything to do with a system that decided they weren't worth the cost of keeping alive, before they ever got the chance to prove what they knew. Whether knowing that changes anything about tomorrow morning is the one part of this nobody can settle for you. Tonight you'll open your refrigerator. Eggs on one shelf, chicken on the other. 2 products you've always thought came from one animal. They don't. And somewhere between the bird that lays and the bird that grows, there's a third one. The one the system was never built to keep. 8 billion a year. Not one of them got to day 5.